These are the interviews from Chat City on Preston FM. Don't forget, our show is live weekdays from 10 till noon. Tune in and become part of our family.
And museums and archives in Preston are offering free training for volunteers to research local World War I heroes. And to talk more about researching the stories of local war heroes, I'm pleased to welcome into the studio Charlotte Steels. And Charlotte is museum manager at the Museum of Lancashire here in Preston. Charlotte, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Lovely to meet you. I've not seen you for a while.
No.
But it's nice to see you again. So tell us a little about this, researching the stories of local war heroes. What's it all about?
Okay, well, we have a First World War memorial just at the back of the museum site in what used to be St Mary's Church, and that is now Lancashire Conservation Studios. And there are around 80 names on there of local men who died during 1914-18. And it's a bit unusual as a war memorial because it doesn't say anything about the regiment they were in, what rank they were, or anything like that. So we know very little about the names on it at the moment, and we're really keen to dig into the family history and find out as much as we can about them.
And so we don't even know if they were in the same regiment. Does it just list the names?
It does, yes. It is quite strange in that respect.
With dates or any other information at all?
Nope, just a list of names.
Wow. And what about anything recorded in the church?
Again, no. We haven't come across anything in the church itself. So it's really exciting for us to start a project like this, to really start digging into the names.
Right. So you're hoping that maybe volunteers will come along, and how would the process then begin? There'd be training with the volunteers, and then how does one go about then, the research? What process is undertaken? To a layperson like myself, I would also find that very interesting. But how would you then proceed to try and find out about those men's names?
Well, a good starting point is the Commonwealth War Graves website. So we have managed to identify a lot of the men already on that website to give us a bit more of a starting point. And then there are other websites such as Ancestry, but obviously being local men, there should be newspaper records, hopefully in the libraries. There might be letters or documents in the archives. So the process will take the volunteers through all the different sources of information that are available, and drawing on expertise from the archives, from museum staff, both at Museum of Lancashire but also up at the Infantry Museum at Fulwood Barracks. So, hopefully there'll be a good pool of people to support with the research and point people in the right direction.
Right. I take it we've always known the memorial's been there, have we? It's not that we've also just recently discovered the memorial.
No, but I think with a lot of the memorials, you just walk past them and you don't necessarily pay much attention. And I think with the commemorations of the First World War coming up, we all suddenly turned around and went, "Oh, we've got a war memorial there."
That's right. Yes, suddenly we notice it.
Yes, it's a strange thing. So yeah, it's.
And how many names are listed on there?
There are about 82 names on it. And we presume some of them are families. There are quite a few instances of the same surname cropping up. Most notable, there's four people called Addison, and we think that at least 3 of them are brothers. So it's looking at those impacts as well on quite a small local area of how siblings or relatives, them all dying around the same time, what impact that had on the local area.
And no dates associated with it at all?
No, we just know it's 14 to 18.
Wow, how interesting. So if any of our listeners have any knowledge or any information. So again, where is it, Charlotte? Where is the memorial? It's in
St Mary's Church, which is on St Mary's Street behind the Museum of Lancashire.
Is that not a little unusual also maybe that the church wouldn't have information?
I think the problem is that it's not been a church for quite a long time now, so there might be records in the archives which might put a little bit more information to it, but we've not uncovered anything as yet.
So if you can find out more information and you get volunteers coming along, would you then be able to recognise it in some way by maybe doing something different with the memorial in recognition to who these men are with the dates? Anything else that could be found out?
Possibly. I mean, obviously, it's a big research project, so we would like to be able to share that information as best we can. In the short term, the plan is to put on an exhibition during 2015, which will hopefully showcase the information that's been found. I mean, one of the things we're really hoping for is that there might still be family members in the area who can provide photographs or personal possessions that can help put a bit more flesh on the bones as well.
Right. And I know across the country, in villages and, small holdings, wherever, you often do find a war memorial. But usually there are details there, or the regiment, or the dates. Well, there are many around Preston where maybe there are small, memorials that were put in different parts of the city that we know of, with or without information.
There's a project taking place at the moment through the Preston Remembers project being led by Preston City Council, and part of that is to identify where all the war memorials are, because a lot of people went on the big war memorial in the Flag Market, but also some families maybe didn't want to record their relatives on there. They'd rather have it in a more local church or other area. So it's quite a big project, really, finding out where all these memorials are and trying to catalogue them all and find out as much information as possible about them.
It certainly would be lovely, wouldn't it? The one in particular that we're talking about now, to be able to find out, the stories behind the names and any other information. That really would be something nice to be able to do in recognition, sadly, of the people who died. That's
right, and obviously with it being a small local church, we presume that most of the people lived in the streets surrounding the museum, so a lot of those houses will still be there, and it would be great to find out where the people lived, and again, as I say, if the families are still in the area.
So if people are interested in finding out more, what's the best way to do this and to get in contact?
Best thing to do is to get in touch with me at the museum, so either by telephone or by email. So that's either 01772 534075 or by email at museumoflancashire@lancashire.gov.uk. And then we can have an initial chat and send out some more details and start moving the process forwards.
And are there going to be other exhibitions, etc., throughout this year at the Museum of Lancashire in respect of the Great War?
There are. We've been very lucky to get a touring exhibition that's been put together by the National Army Museum. And that's coming to us in early July, so that will open around the 5th of July. So it'd be great. It's going to be great to have some nationally significant exhibitions around this theme. And we've also been working on another exhibition which is based around postcards and correspondence sent during the war, and that's called Somewhere in France, because obviously a lot of the soldiers writing from the front could only say that they were from somewhere in France. So we're hoping that that's going to spark quite a lot of individual stories and interest as well.
And will that probably coincide with the other exhibition in July?
It will, yes. So they'll both run around the same time, so from the beginning of July till Armistice Day in November.
Because the interest is now beginning, isn't it? I've been watching The Great War with Jeremy Paxton on TV, and some fascinating details that are now coming to light that previously weren't known about. So this year really is becoming the year when people are wanting to find out more about the Great War. And the importance, I suppose, here in Preston, because Preston, of course, sent many men over there to fight in the Great War. So it is a way of celebrating those that left Preston.
That's right. I mean, everybody knows somebody in their family tree who had some involvement in the First World War, and I think it's such a relevant story for everybody, really. It's really going to create a lot of interest, I think.
And for people who don't know, the Museum of Lancashire, very interactive museum. We're nearly into half term this month, so I suppose there'll be lots of things happening during half term for the children.
That's right, and we're also opening the exhibition of the Silverdale Viking Hoard, which was on display in Lancaster just before Christmas. So that's opening with us on the 15th of February, with Viking activities happening that weekend, and then there'll be other family activities throughout half-term week as well. So lots going on for families.
So, I think that'll be quite a busy time then at the museum.
Most definitely. We're battening down the hatches at the moment and just preparing ourselves.
And of course, there's also, for people who are interested, I must admit, some fascinating stuff down there. I do love the entertainment side of things. When you come down there, there's the old Bakelite radios, there's things belonging to Hilda Baker and other comedians from the music hall days around the Northwest. George Formby, I think, is represented down there. And then, of course, there's the old schoolroom of... What year would that be? Would that be 1800s, the schoolroom up there?
It's a Victorian schoolroom, yes. It's, again, very popular with people pretending to be teacher and wanting to cane people.
So a very, very interactive museum over there then, Charlotte.
Yes, very much so. We love it when it's full of people and kids enjoying themselves. It makes our job worthwhile.
Brilliant. So there we are. So researching the stories of local war and a hero. If you can help, Charlotte, if you know anything about that memorial, or in fact you want to get involved in finding out, again, what's the contact details there, Charlotte?
The telephone number is 01772 534075, or by email, which is museumoflancashire@lancashire.gov.uk.
Okay, well, I'd love to follow that story through with you, so I hope we can do. It'd be nice to follow through now what happens and, what research turns up in respect of the memorial. It'd be nice to follow the story with you. So thank you for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed this interview as much as we have. Why not join our Chat City family and give us a tweet at ChatCityPFM.